Hello, this is Caitlin from the Wellness Station.
And Paul McAndrew and Caitlin Schmidt.
And we're here to bring you the third in the 10 Essential Feldenkrais lessons in a series.
Third.
Number 3. They're all great, but this one is particularly exciting for us today.
Yeah, it is. And this one we sometimes call this lesson the jar and cover or lid and cover. And what you'll be seeing is how you can actually learn you'll notice a pattern of the previous 2 lessons that we've done, that a lot of it has been focusing on helping the brain to understand how to control the individual segments, just like someone might learn how to control their fingers and the piano keys to play a nice tune. So this one, you're going to be seeing movements where the spine will be moving as a unit, and then it'll be moving segmentally in various ways. So we're going to go ahead and show that. And we call it the jar and cover lesson because some things are going to be happening that are similar to a jar with its lid and what you do with them.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, let's
So
do it.
Caitlin, how about if you go ahead and lie down on your side here. And get you something for your head. So when you do this at home, you're going to want to have your head supported, and usually, like those are kneeling pads, this is for your arm. Something relatively firm that's padded is really nice because your head can then roll nicely on that, whereas if it was a soft pillow, you wouldn't get as much of a nice movement. And then we have something. Now, what's underneath? Okay, just select that one up a little bit. Good. So what is underneath the bolsters are not necessary for you to do this at home. You could have the knees together, you could have your palms together, you could have your hand, and you could have your top hand on a roll of paper towels. If your knees were together, why don't you just go ahead and draw your knees up, we could have a towel rolled up right in there. If you just happen to have bolsters, which we happen to have many of, it's very much easier for a person to learn this lesson. Okay.
Or a foam roller. Foam rollers are good for this. A lot of people have those.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So in this lesson, I might be directing the person to first move more or less as a unit. When I say as a unit, so keep that going, Caitlin. When I say as a unit, what I'm referring to, not surprisingly, is her spine is moving as if it's one long bone. Now I emphasize that that doesn't mean that anything is stiff, it's just an option that we all have, and that's a beautiful movement, that's a very functional movement. But if that's the only thing that you know how to do with your spine, is to move as a unit, you're in trouble. You're going to find a lot of things, a lot more work than what they ought to be. So now we might say, okay, why don't we, if we can move the hips and the leg with the shoulder, we can also move it by itself. So now, if you watch what Caitlin is doing, she's left her upper body nice and restful. She's engaging her lower spine as the leg goes forward and back. So now, if you were looking at her from behind, this would be someone lying down facing me. If you were looking at her from behind so you can see the vertebrae, you'd be seeing the individual motion of those segments. So oriented the way she is, it's going to look like this. So imagine a series of lights shining from Caitlin's vertebrae, forward towards you and back on the wall behind. You'd see those lights moving individually. Okay, now Caitlin, if you can do this part by itself, yeah. So now she's engaging the upper part. And so now she's learning how to engage from top on down into the thoracic area. And the thoracic area is an amazingly beautiful area that tends to want to move as one unit. So a lot of people strain their neck and strain their low back because the thoracic area doesn't know how to join in adequately. This helps with that. Then, people who are clever, like Caitlin, what else could you do with that? So watch her hand and watch her knee And you'll see that as one rotates, as one goes forward, the other one comes back, which means that now you're getting a counter rotation in the spine. A beautiful lesson, a lesson that in its simplicity has profound effects carrying over into life, like, for example, walking. So why don't we see how this would relate to walking and how walking could become a way more enjoyable experience. So Caitlin's going to stand up and, let's see.
So walking,
Yeah?
imaginary walking. So if you can visualize the lights here and here, how they're kind of shining in opposite directions.
Yeah? And there's that counter rotation. And there is, I'm going to jump in front of you. And so there's the whole thing about the jar and the cover. The jar and cover can move as a unit. They can move where one is moving, the other is moving, and they can move in all different kinds of combinations. So play with that a little bit, have some fun with that, and we hope that you have a happy spine.